Welcome to Money Gang. Today we look at the short life of Fred Hampton, a political activist and the chairman of the Illinois Black Panthers who was brutally killed by the FBI in 1969. Before we start, if you enjoy this video, please remember to like and subscribe for more content. We are posting twice a week, so don't miss out. Thanks. In the early hours of December 4th, 1969, a People's Gas truck arrived at 2337 West Monroe Street on Chicago's west side. 14 plainclothes Chicago police officers emerged from the truck, armed with pistols, a shotgun, a machine gun, and a detailed map of their target, an apartment housing leaders of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party. The map marked the bedroom of Fred Hampton, the 21-year-old chairman of the Chicago Black Panthers, who was asleep with his 8-month pregnant fiancée. At 4:30 a.m., the police forced open the front door and began shooting. Ballistics reports later indicated that they fired over 90 rounds, including machine gun fire through walls and windows. When the shooting ended, 4 young Black Panthers inside were critically wounded and 2 had been killed. The first was Mark Clark, who was shot through the heart while reaching for his shotgun. The second was Fred Hampton, shot dead in his bed. The police were operating under the orders of Edward Hanrahan, Cook County State's attorney, who held a press conference asserting that his officers were ambushed by the Black Panthers while attempting to execute a search warrant for illegal weapons. Hanrahan claimed, "The immediate violent criminal reaction of the occupants in shooting at announced police officers emphasizes the extreme viciousness of the Black Panther Party." Although Hanrahan's account soon unraveled, the full truth took over a decade to emerge. The killings of Hampton and Clark were not merely a brutal assassination, but were part of a coordinated FBI effort to dismantle the Black Panther Party, which FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had privately labeled the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. Hampton, a rising star in Chicago, became a target. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was formed in 1966 by a pair of black college students in Oakland, California. With their military-style berets and raised fist salute, the Black Panthers preached black empowerment and armed resistance to racist violence, including at the hands of police. The Black Panther Party also started a wealth of social initiatives, including a free breakfast program that helped feed thousands of hungry kids before school. Hampton was an honor student from the Chicago suburbs who, as a youth leader with the NAACP, successfully campaigned to have a non-segregated swimming pool built in his hometown. When he joined the Illinois Black Panther Party in 1968, he quickly gained a reputation as a powerful speaker and a coalition builder across racial lines to fight police brutality and address poverty in Chicago's most neglected neighborhoods. Hampton was this incredibly charismatic young dynamic leader who formed this rainbow coalition with Puerto Ricans and poor whites from Appalachia, says Jeffrey Haas, one of the founders of the People's Law Office in Chicago, and a member of the legal team that sued the Chicago police and the FBI over Hampton's killing. He started a health clinic and a free breakfast program. That's not to say that Black Panthers in Chicago shied away from confrontation and armed provocation. They very much had a militant anti-police position of community control of police, says Haas, who is also the author of The Assassination of Fred Hampton, How the FBI and the Chicago Police Murdered a Black Panther. "Off the pig" was one of their very provocative slogans, which to Panthers meant getting abusive police out of the community, but I'm not sure the police necessarily saw it that way. Chicago at the time was a hotbed of political protest and violent clashes with the police. When crowds took to the streets after the 1968 assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., the Chicago mayor ordered police to shoot suspected arsonists. Later that year, police and National Guard troops pummeled anti-war protesters outside of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. If the FBI wanted to squelch the Black Panther extremists operating in Chicago, it saw a clear threat in the meteoric rise of Fred Hampton. The covert COINTELPRO program behind the killings, the view of protesters, many with signs reading "Avenge Fred Hampton," a reference to the Black Panther member assassinated 5 days earlier by members of the Chicago police force at an anti-Nixon demonstration in New York City, December 9th, 1969. When Haas and his legal partner Flint Taylor at the People's Law Office first took on Hampton and Clark's case, it quickly became clear that the state's attorney's version of the story was bunk. Ballistics experts found that all but one of the bullets fired in the apartment came from police weapons, in contradiction to a false report from the Chicago police's own crime lab. It was obvious that Hanrahan, the state's attorney, was hiding the real reason for the violent raid, but no one at the time could have imagined how high up the conspiracy went to target Hampton and cover up his murder. Then, in 1971, a group of anti-war activists broke into an FBI office in the suburbs of Philadelphia, looking for evidence that the FBI was spying on leaders of the anti-war movement. What they accidentally uncovered was documented proof of the existence of a secret FBI scheme called COINTELPRO, Counterintelligence Program, with orders to disrupt, misdirect, and otherwise neutralize Black Power movements. It was under the auspices of COINTELPRO that the FBI spied on and harassed civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. It was all part of Hoover's efforts to prevent, in his words, the rise of a messiah that would unify and electrify the militant nationalist movement. To the FBI, Hampton was another potential messiah, rising up through the ranks of the Black Panther Party and being groomed for national leadership. Some justice for Fred Hampton mourners passed by the coffin of Fred Hampton at his memorial service at First Baptist Church of Melrose Park, Illinois, December 9, 1969. Over years of litigation on behalf of Hampton and Clark's families and the survivors of the raid, Haas and Taylor got their hands on more incriminating FBI documents linking Hampton's killing to COINTELPRO. One of the most damning was an FBI memo authorizing the payment of a bonus to an informant named William O'Neill, a security guard for the Black Panthers who supplied the FBI with the map of the apartment. By connecting the dots, Haas and his colleagues were able to show that a Chicago FBI agent, Roy Martin Mitchell, was the one who provided the map to Hanrahan. Hanrahan was his very ambitious heir to Chicago Mayor Daley at the time, says Haas. His people were more than willing to do this raid on the Panthers, thinking that it would build their careers. FBI agent M. Wesley Swearingen became a whistleblower in the case in 1977, telling government lawyers that the FBI had set up Chicago police to kill the Panthers by warning them ahead of the raid that they'd be met with armed resistance. Swearingen later wrote a book about the shooting and other incidents. The first judge who heard the case threw it out after a grueling 18-month trial. But Haas and Taylor continued, writing a 200-page brief to the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, linking the FBI to a conspiracy to subvert and eliminate the Black Panther Party and its members, thereby suppressing a vital, radical black political organization. The government finally agreed to a settlement in 1982. Paying $1.85 million to the families of Hampton and Clark and the other survivors of the 1969 raid, some of whom never fully recovered from their injuries. A Justice Department attorney said the settlement did not concede wrongdoing. However, G. Flynn Taylor, an attorney for the plaintiffs, told reporters the settlement is an admission of the conspiracy that existed between the FBI and Hanrahan's men to murder Fred Hampton. More evidence appears. Decades later, in January 2021, more than 50 years after the police killing of Hampton, hundreds of suppressed FBI documents related to the COINTELPRO program were released through a Freedom of Information Act request. Among those documents was yet another bonus letter, this one from the desk of Hoover himself. In the letter dated 6 days after Hampton's murder, the FBI director thanked Roy Martin Mitchell, the Chicago FBI agent who orchestrated the raid, for his exemplary efforts. I am certainly pleased to commend you and to advise you that I have approved an incentive award in the amount of $200 for your outstanding services in a matter of considerable interest to the FBI in the racial field, wrote Hoover. So there we have it, the life and untimely death of Fred Hampton. At just 21, he was already such a threat to America's ideology that they executed him. His name and the progress he helped achieve will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, the chairman, Fred Hampton. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. We are posting videos twice a week, so make sure you don't miss any content.